Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm Thomas. I'm a doctor working full time in Australia, and I'm also building this YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to just talk to you about my plan to get to 1K YouTube subscribers, the reasons, my motivation for doing it, and my plan on how I'm going to get there. So, if you've been following my journey, my YouTube journey so far, you probably haven't, but maybe some of you have, you will see that I've put out a lot of videos, and you can see that they're pretty average. That's a kind word, but they're. I've jumped from topic to topic. I started off with like a podcast show, just interviewing my mates about their athletic endeavors. That lasted for about 14, 15 episodes. That was my first start. Then I think I went to some motivational personal development quotes, mainly through shorts. And then more recently I've tried to be a bit more consistent, and I've tried to put a bit more effort into it. And very recently I've been doing daily uploads, spending about 2 hours per video, so a decent amount of effort. And I've been trying to learn, but these videos have mainly been about productivity, ways of which you can optimize your deep work. Throughout this journey so far, I've realized I don't have a specific audience in mind. So I think I have 160. How many subscribers do I have? 175 or so subscribers, I think, at the time of this video. And they're probably a range of people. It's not one group of people that are watching my videos. It's probably some random people who've seen some nature van videos that I've done. Maybe there's some business people in there. Maybe there's some medical students. Maybe there's some doctors. Maybe there's just random people. I don't think I'm focused, and that's what I'm trying to get more towards, is focus on who I want watching my video. Like, what is the point of me building this YouTube channel? Yes, I could just make entertaining videos and get anyone to watch it, or do I want to build a community of a certain type of people? And that is my goal. I just need to pick on what group of people I want. And I've gone through phases of like thinking, okay, this is the videos I want to make for. I thought at one point I was going to do health, because I'm a doctor, lifestyle sort of videos for the general public. Little did I know the power of a niche. So then I thought, okay, maybe I should do lifestyle interventions for entrepreneurs, because I'm kind of like an entrepreneur. So maybe I can relate to that lifestyle. Then I realized that's really niche as well. Maybe I could do, and I was also like, it's harder to do lifestyle interventions, so why don't I, and do people really care about living longer in the moment? A lot of mentors told me you need to sell them something sexy, so some short-term offer. You can't say you're going to live longer if you do these things. You need to say, you're going to have more energy if you do these things. But how do you quantify energy? So yeah, it got me a bit. And then I was like, what do people want in the short term that are entrepreneurs? And it seemed to be, speaking to a few entrepreneurial friends, they want to maximize their productivity. They want to maximize their deep work. So deep work seemed to be the thing I could target around. And I could make videos, yes, about mindset, about energy, about nutrition, about sleep, but focus that towards deep work. So I began to making a few videos on that. And then more recently, I think, can I niche down further? Like, what does entrepreneurs mean? Like, that's still such a vague term. I need to be knowing who I'm talking to. So whoever's watching my video, I should feel like I really know that person, that specific person. And that's the point. Entrepreneur is too broad. I need to focus it down further. So recently that's led me to come to the conclusion that I think I just need to focus on someone I really know well. And the best thing to do that is to focus on my personal experience. I know myself well. I'm a doctor. I'm a budding YouTuber. So why don't I share my journey and productivity tips and tricks that I'm learning, trying to work a full-time job as a doctor while making YouTube videos as a doctor. So that's my new niche target audience that I'm trying to build. People like myself, so full-time doctors who are budding YouTubers. And I think, what offer I'm going to create is, tips on productivity, essentially deep work, how to do all this while not burning out. And my goal is to create a community of like-minded people like myself, YouTuber doctors, and that's a free community in school. The link is in the description. So if this video does get out to doctors like myself who are YouTubers, budding YouTubers, especially ones that are aspiring YouTubers, or maybe you have a few subscribers but you're wanting to get to 1k, but you're between 0 and 1k, just like myself. If you want to come on that journey with a community of like-minded people, where we'll all be sharing our tips of not just growing on YouTube, but managing being a full-time doctor at the same time, and how to not burn out, how to maximize your productivity, etc., then join the link in the description. So that's what my plan is. It's to really, in terms of niche, focus on that really specific avatar of people like myself. I know myself well. I know the struggles. I know the pains. I know it's hard, and I'm trying to show my journey. So I've been doing quite a few like educational videos, like this is what to do kind of thing, or a lot of theory. And there's value in that. But I think people will listen to you more if you're just authentic. If you're just saying, you know what, I'm not an expert, but this is my journey. This is what I've figured out. This is what works for me. This is what doesn't work. This is what I'm struggling with. So I think my plan is to be more authentic and share my journey. Not be an expert, but to just be maybe, all I need to be is 1 or 2 steps ahead of someone watching this, and give them tips. Or maybe there's someone who's actually ahead of me, but they still take value in some things, and that's okay as well. But yeah, that's my plan. Focus on the niche that is me, the avatar that is me, building that community, and to be authentic, share my journey. That's my plan going forward. What I've been trying to do so far is really develop consistency in my videos. So if you look back in the last 3 weeks, I've been doing a video every day, and that's kind of cool, because there's days where I just don't want to do it. There's days where I think, is there a point to doing this? Is there a point to putting out a video? Maybe I should take longer. But every day that I do, it kind of actually builds a belief in me, because I think that's a very important mental barrier when you're starting off as a YouTuber, is like, do you really trust yourself to take this seriously, to have that consistency? Like, you're always thinking you might just give up, but every time you put out a video, despite views, despite subscribers, despite comments, whatever, that shifts your mindset. It is in me anyway. It shifts the mindset from a result minded to process minded, because if I'm not seeing results despite daily work of like 2 or 3 hours, then my brain's like, why is he still doing this? He's not getting results. What's the motivation? But despite that, I'm doing that. So every time that happens, I'm kind of like, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for the process. I'm doing this to develop consistency. And that's kind of pretty powerful, I think. to develop that consistency in something different like YouTube. Because there will be a lot of roadblocks, a lot of excuses, a lot of doubts that you have if you're in that results mindset. But if you can shift to the process mindset, then that's pretty powerful going forward, because it doesn't matter the external results. You've got your system in place. You're proud of your system. You're taking your self-esteem is based on your process, not results. So it keeps you humble, keeps you learning, keeps you grounded. And yeah, that's what's happened to me. So I've talked to you about my plan going forward, and how I'm going to get there. Focusing on my niche, very narrow, making authentic videos, sharing my journey. That's number 2. And I guess I'm just gonna. I always think, what's the best way to learn? What's the best way to get better? And I always think of this example that Alex Hormozi shared and described. He described 2 groups of people who were beginners at pottery. They went to this pottery class, and one group, let's say of 10 people, were told, okay, you've got 1 week and you have to make as many bits of pottery as you can. The goal is to make the best piece, but you want to just do as many as you can. And then the other group was told, okay, you want to make the best bit of pottery you can, but spend all your time on just one piece of pottery. So one group of 10 people spent the whole week, let's say 40 hours, on one piece of pottery, just like really paying attention to it, micro adjustments, aiming for perfection. Then the other group just rattled out, 10 bits of pottery a day. By the end of the week, they had, let's say, 50 pieces of pottery. And then an pottery expert was asked to judge which pieces are the best pottery. And let's say they picked 10. 10 of the pieces they picked were in the group of quantity. They said these are the best, and none of them were of the group that spent the whole time on one piece. So this just reminds me that the best way to learn, fastest way to learn, for aiming for quality, is to just keep moving fast. Focus on quantity and the quality will come. And that's what I've been doing the last 3 weeks. And if you look back at my videos, you can see, hopefully, some improvement each time. And, even if there's not improvement, I'm getting feedback. I'm getting feedback every day. So this is what I'm going to take going forward. I think consistency is good. Quantity is good. And so this is my plan. Plan, being authentic, sharing my journey, target a narrow niche, quantity over quality. I think quality will come. Building a community of people. That's my plan. And my motivation for doing this. I said I was going to say what my motivation for doing this is. So I work as a doctor. I think that's great. I enjoy a lot of aspects of working as a doctor. I'm currently in the position of being a medical registrar locuming at the moment. I'm past my foundation years, and the next step would be going into training. I'm also a sports doctor for a team, so I have the option of either going into sports medicine training, medical training, GP training. Those are the 3 main options. Or staying locuming, which, to be honest, I'm enjoying. Locuming, you have the flexibility. You don't have to work all the time. You don't have to request for annual leave. You do get paid better per hour. I mean, you're still learning. And it gives me that flexibility to think about, like, what do I actually want? Do I want to go into training? There's negatives to being a doctor as well, of course. It can be highly stressful. It can be very busy. It can be long hours. If you go into training, you're going to be working nights, without any choice in the matter, really. You're going to be working evenings, you're going to be working weekends. And I've done all that. I've done that for 3-4 years. I'm a locum now, so I can say no to nights, and that's great. I don't like nights, and I don't like being told I have to do nights. So my point is, the reason why I've started a YouTube channel is to have an option, potentially, to try, to give it a go, to see if it's possible. I think I've spent my whole life, from 16, 17, med at school for 6 years, being a doctor, junior doctor for 2 years, in Australia another 2 years, of just being on a path. I've been learning the identity of being a doctor, and which is being professional, being logical, being serious, thinking in a certain way. And it's taught me a lot, and it's developed me into this person, and that's absolutely great. But there's another side that you don't have, which is maybe creativity, taking risks, putting yourself out there. I mean, all of these things you don't really get, or it's not beneficial to have being a doctor. You don't want to take risks as a doctor. You don't want to express your personality fully being a doctor. You want to be confined to the professional person looking after patients, And I think for me, I'm like, because it takes up a large portion of my life, like on average in the last 4 years, I'll be working Monday to Friday, maybe have 2 days off, or I'll be working weekends and have 2 days off in the week. But like, it's not enough for me to express that other side of myself, I think. For me, you only get one life. You want to fully express yourself, and perhaps being a doctor isn't enough for me to do that. I want to see what other parts of me there is, which through business, through YouTube, it involves a lot of different skills. It involves putting myself out there, being bold, being courageous, taking risks, expressing my personality, expressing my thoughts. So I love this part, and it's scary and it's different, but that's what life is. I just didn't want to be confined to one identity in life, and that's why I'm doing it. And of course, there's other potential positives. I think to have the choice of whether I want to be a doctor still, or the choice of being a part-time doctor and a part-time YouTuber / online business, or the choice of going into that full-time. I think that's a powerful thing to actually have a choice. And for me, that choice gives me that freedom. I like freedom. I don't like being confined to something. And I think this venture gives me that freedom. It gives me that. It's a mindset shift. And I'm doing it for the choice. I'm doing it for the characteristics that I'm building. And there's other massive positives as well. Like if once you're on YouTube, you can scale. You can scale to lots of people. You have one video, and that video can go out to hundreds, thousands of people. When you're a doctor, your time is directly proportional with the value you give. So when you're with a patient, speaking to that patient, writing up some medication for that patient, your time equals value. You can't see 2 patients at one time. Whereas doing this, you can affect multiple people's lives at the same time. So it's scalable. I mean, there's other advantages as well, of course. With online business, you don't have to be location dependent, which is a reason. If I want to travel, I'm 28 and I've traveled a fair bit, but I haven't traveled for prolonged periods. But with this, I could work and I could travel. So that's another element of freedom. But the main thing is like all it comes back to is on my deathbed, which I've seen people in their last hours of their life or days of their life, and that's inevitable. Like as doctors, we try and treat people, we try and help people and get better and reduce suffering and everything, but it's inevitable. We're all human. We're all gonna die eventually. Even you, even me, even with our egos, even when we're young and we don't really think about that. And I don't think anyone really thinks about that, even as they get older, that there is an end. So yes, we can really help people in hospitals, but as you get older and you accumulate illness and age, it's really inevitable, and the suffering is inevitable, and people's quality of life is obviously not as good. So I think with that attitude in mind, I need to consider my end, even at this age, and what regrets I'll have on my deathbed. And yeah, I think one of them would be like, well, what if? Why didn't you take a risk when you were 27, 28, when it was maybe your last sort of chance to take that risk, to just see if your dream was possible, if you could express yourself a bit more to the world, show your different personality, and have that choice. And that's what I'm doing. So yeah, anytime I'm in doubt or fear what I'm doing, or like see my colleagues and friends going to training and feel that pressure, I always remind myself of that feeling, that thought that I'll have when inevitably I'll be old and on my deathbed. And yeah, that motivates me to keep going and just try on this YouTube journey, put myself out there, see what happens, and not be fearful. And that's what I'm doing. Okay, so I think I've spoken enough here. I've just gone with this different sort of style of video, which is just purely authentic, rambling, but gonna put it out there, and might not even do a thumbnail.